There are opposing views and mindsets that can be right in different circumstances. It really depends on what it is you bring to the table, how it is you prefer to be viewed and treated, and then also just how you're looking at it. What's your perspective, right? And I'm going to explain what I mean, right? Based off of how you view female sexual nature and how you view female nature in general, is going to play a big part in how you pursue a woman, right? It's going to play a big part in what you think is appropriate. If you think that approaching a woman sexually initially or and seeking to initially create sexual tension with the woman, if you see that as something that's wrong, it's probably because you don't respect a woman's agency. You don't see a woman as someone who has the ability to have sex for her own reasons. And because you don't see a woman as someone who has the ability to have sex for their own reasons, your mindset is that if a man is having sex with that woman, that he's using her, and that he's getting something out of her that she's not getting in return. And on the basis of how people view egos and how egos are attached differently, that can be somewhat the same at times, depending on how much pleasure a woman is getting out the situation. You know what I mean? Oftentimes, people have to trade ego, ego gratification and validation for pleasure, right? Like as a man, let's say you're dealing with a woman, you're focused on her pleasure, you're focused on her body, and because of that, you're trading the pleasure of just focusing on completely what you would want to do, and you're trading that so that you can have some power in the situation by pleasing, overstimulating that woman's body. That's something that's game that a lot of guys have used. I'll be honest with you, I've used it myself. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things where there's other ways of looking at it. Because the truth is, as a man, and this is something that I've done myself, I've gone through that process myself of testing out the theory of having sex from a more selfish point of view. And even if I felt like, well, I still have all this knowledge, I still have all these experiences, man, you nut so much faster when you selfishly have sex. You nut so much faster. That's just real, And like for a woman, it can work similar as well. Like a woman oftentimes will trade, sexual access to her for non-sexual access to the man, as in either for the purpose of a relationship or for the purpose of gaining like actual money in her hands or for financial security, or sometimes just for attention, just for validation, just for feeling like he likes her, right? Now, when women take that mindset when it comes to sexuality, often how that turns out is a lot of times those women end up not having orgasms. Why? You know what I mean? Why? Listen, I can say this from the perspective of a guy. When you take that mindset of not being selfish about sexuality in order to please the woman, because that's the value you believe that you're bringing to the situation, then it dampens, it doesn't necessarily dampen your desire, because the ego gratification will take the place of that previous desire. But man, there may be times where if your mind's not right, man, you might not even nut. You'd be sitting there pounding away for 2-3 hours. You know what I mean? 2-3 hours. And this is maybe the same woman who you could have had sex with for 3 minutes before. You know what I mean? You could have had sex with her for 4 minutes. I think there's a certain balance. And a lot of the times I would seek to find balance myself. And usually that probably end around maybe like 40 minutes, an hour. Every once in a while, 20 minutes. Every once in a blue moon, maybe 15. Like, you know what I mean? But desire plays a big part in all that. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, I listen to different content creators. I listen to different dating coaches. And I like a lot of different stuff I hear. And to me, it's not that I think a lot of people are just dead wrong about certain things. I think life is about choices. It's about how you want to be seen and what it is that you desire out the situation. Like I listen to Kevin Samuels sometimes. As a man, sometimes, hey, we all got a little bit of that in us. Not everybody, but a good bit where every once in a while you want to see a delusional woman get her ass handed to her, verbally. That's true. Let's not pretend that that's not part of it while we like to watch him. But another aspect of it is this, he's big on getting your stuff together, having your game on point. But I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I think that, that it's alpha male. I believe that he runs things kind of like in a certain extent, like a blue pill alpha male. And I'm going to explain what I mean. It's taking the alpha male provider point of view, which is because I'm the provider, I run shit. You know what I mean? Because I take care of things, because I pay for stuff, I'm the one who runs things, I'm the one who makes all decisions. And for a lot of women, some women will see that, and a lot of those women are not feminine or submissive in the first place. They'll see that as manipulative. They'll see that as controlling. They'll see that as narcissistic. because it's like just, using that money to control the situation. But I'll say this right here, that is not necessary. Like, there are different ways to get to that place in a woman's mind, and to get to that place in her heart, and to get to that place where she feels a certain way about you, to where she's willing to submit to you naturally, right? And I think that the issue I have with the blue pill mentality and the blue pill ideology is more so that when you do things that way, you're getting bot compliance, and that bot compliance only works as long as you keep it up. So let's say if that bot compliance is somewhat based in validation, then when you give her that marriage, you can't get any higher than that marriage after you have the marriage and the kids. So after that time is over with, or after she has the marriage, after she has the kids, a lot of times the sex will go down. Now that's where Kevin Samuels will probably be on some real stuff. He'll probably just leave the woman, or tell her we got to open up the situation, or whatever it is. And he also emphasizes a certain aspect of looks. He also emphasizes, getting your game together, smelling good, looking good. All this stuff is good stuff. Like, I watch Kevin Samuels more so for, just learning more things about personal accountability when it comes to having my life together for myself as a man. But I don't watch Kevin Samuels to learn how to deal with women. A lot of the things he requires of women aren't always my requirements. You know what I mean? And like me, a woman can be a little bit older. She'll still be attracted to me. Attractive is attractive. I don't think that age thing plays the biggest part for me. But why? That's probably also because I'm not one of the dudes he necessarily adheres to, which are the men who are looking for marriage. You know what I mean? That's not really, I would like to have that, but it's not something that I say, okay, this woman should be my wife. I'm going to get to know her, see if she's going to be my wife. It's like, no, let me see if she's cool. Let me see if we have some type of compatibility. Let me see if we have some type of chemistry. Let's see if we can get along for a consistent amount of time. Let me vet this woman out. And I'm not saying he doesn't talk about a vetting process, but what I will say is I don't think that men should operate with women from a mind state of thinking that how much money they have is going to be the determining factor and whether or not they're getting attractive women on a consistent basis, or whether or not they're getting attractive women at all. You know what I mean? I think that shouldn't be a factor. I think that, there are men in the black community, and I know we've probably seen men like that, and a lot of those men did trick off some, but it's like, you'll see the man who may work a job where he's a janitor or something like that, but, on his off days, he'll dress up real clean. That's cool, too. But then you'll also have those men who will have some serious money. They'll have a good job, maybe an engineer, and they, when they go out and they meet women, they're riding around in their beat up car, in their older car. They have on some old clothes because they're not really worried about that. But their mouthpiece is so crispy. Their sexual energy is strong because they know what they do. They have experience. And these days, most women aren't going to go for the logical point of view. And I think that that's somewhat a good thing. Not completely, but it's somewhat a good thing. It can be turned around for the better because, when it comes to these type of situations, most of the time a woman is going to operate with a woman based off of how she feels about him, how she feels in his presence, how she feels about that man in general. So when a woman is dealing with a man based off of how she feels, it's one of those things where, as a man, you should know what causes her to feel a certain way, and you can attack that from different angles. Some men will attack it more so from an intellectual point of view, right? Some men are going to go for the body first. I believe in going for the body first, but I know that the intellectual point of view is more so one of my strongest things, right? But one thing you got to understand, and some men are going to go for the provider, financial thing. Some men are going to go for the status. Some men are going to go for the looks. Going for biology first isn't the same as going for looks. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. I don't really, I can dress up, I can clean up, but I don't go out of my way to try to make myself look, be super out the box for women, and I still get good looking women, honestly. And like, I'm not no super attractive dude. Don't get me wrong, I'm good looking. Don't get me wrong, I know I'm attractive, but I'm not no super nigga. You get what I'm saying? And that's fine. That is completely fine with me. When you understand sexual chemistry, when you understand what arouses a woman, you don't have to be all but so attractive to get to that woman. And a lot of the times, if you are, a woman's not gonna trust you. She's like, man, I'm never gonna have a chance. When you have a little leeway in there, it makes a woman feel just a little comfortable. Because sometimes you can. I'm talking to run-ons, right? But sometimes you can price yourself out of the market, right? You can be so high value that you price yourself out of the market because a woman knows that she's not going to be able to afford that. And that's cool if you have the options, like Kevin Samuels talks about, where you're also leveraging things outside of your attractiveness, where you're also leveraging things outside of, outside of your sex appeal, when you're leveraging things outside of your mouthpiece, when you're leveraging things outside of your game. It's one of those things where you can price yourself out sometimes. Now, if you just got those kind of options where those are all the women you got, that's cool. That's what's up. Every man should strive for that. But my personal belief is, no matter how much money you have, I don't think that a man's focus should be trying to use money to get women. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't really support that. I don't. Why not? I respect men who trick more. Like, I respect a man more if he makes a conscious decision to say that what he's going to do is he's going to take his hard-earned money and he's going to find a woman who's attracted to him, and he's going to put the money in her hand, and then they're going to make that transaction. I respect that more than to do that on a long-term basis with a woman, unless that woman is completely on your program. If she's not completely on your program, then to me that sounds like you're just selling yourself short and you don't value yourself. Because why would I want to spend the rest of my life in a relationship with a woman who doesn't have genuine sexual desire for me? That doesn't sound realistic. That doesn't sound smart. That doesn't sound logical to me in the grand scheme of things, because like, I just think it's better if you're gonna deal with a woman who's a prostitute to you, just get one for a short amount of time. Some men do that shit on stipend. I don't advocate for it. I haven't spent money to deal with a woman. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. And some people say it's cheap. I say it's priceless. Honestly, I've never taken a woman on a date because I wanted to have sex with her. Never. You know what I mean? I may have taken a woman on a date because I wanted to date her. You know what I mean? Or because I wanted to experience dating, so I could have that under my tool belt when it comes to my life experiences. But I never took a woman on a date thinking that after the date I was going to get some sex. Like, that's never happened. I'm 25 years old. I haven't been a virgin for a long time. I think that, money don't really play a factor for me. And, it's certain things that just haven't played a factor for me. But I still do pretty well. And I think a lot of this has to do with my mind, understanding certain aspects of game, just understanding how to work social media. That, that's played a big part for me. But it's like I enjoy listening to Kevin Samuels because what I learned is a lot of stuff just about manhood from him. I have a father, I have a good father. Sometimes you don't always come up in the best financial situations. Like, maybe just your family weren't the most financially literate. So you can have great people around, great wisdom, character, all that stuff. But sometimes there's certain things that come with being in a higher social class that, as men who grew up not being in the highest social class, you may not always understand. You may not always have access to that information, or you may not know what it is that you don't know to ask the people around you what it is that you need to know in order to improve your situation. So it's like I listen to Kevin Samuels and it's like, all right, cool, this is stuff that's going to help me with my own life, because I'm a content creator. I'm an artist, I'm a rapper, music producer, singer. I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of things. I act some, web series. I'm working on writing some web series right now. I'm thinking about doing comedy. I wrote about 2 sets, 2.5. I practiced them, but the COVID hit, so I wasn't able to go and practice my stand-up yet. It kind of like threw a monkey wrench in it. But there's just a lot of things that I want to do, a lot of things that I'm getting into that listening to Kevin Samuels, things like that help on that front. But when it comes to dealing with women, I'm going to be honest with you. Like, that stuff may help me. Maybe it'll just exponentially increase my situation. But I think that each man, when it comes to dealing with women, should focus on making sure that he has the ability to create a baseline level of sexual tension and sexual attraction with every woman that he deals with. And then all those extra things that he provides to the situation are right on top of that. But when the emphasis is all on the looks, money, status, and it's all on, and looks is kind of like an iffy part of the looks, money, status part. If it isn't about creating sexual desire with that woman, making sure that you establish those tingles within her, then if you don't have that, then all that other stuff is just going to feel like prostitution, acculturated prostitution. Some women are cool with that. I think that's when I listen to Kevin Samuels, and I don't have any issue with the stuff that he says to women. Why? Because these women purposely come on there saying that what they're looking for is a high value